From Insider.com, a 13-year-old who couldn't get an abortion is now starting 7th grade as a mom, report says. A 13-year-old from Clarksdale, Mississippi will start 7th grade as a new mom after being sexually assaulted and unable to get access to an abortion, Time reported. The girl, referred to by the pseudonym Ashley in the report to protect her privacy, was raped in autumn of 2022 and told no one for weeks. Her mother, Regina, also a pseudonym, told Time. Regina had noticed something was wrong when Ashley lost interest in her usual hobbies like TikTok dances and had symptoms such as nausea. Regina said she hadn't even talked to her daughter about how babies are made because she felt Ashley was too young to understand, according to Time. Despite severe trauma that left Ashley almost unable to speak, Regina later learned that Ashley had been assaulted by an unknown man while she had been outside their house. Ashley was already 10 weeks pregnant by the time her pregnancy was discovered. Regina told Time that she brought Ashley to the emergency room on January 11th, 2023 because she couldn't stop vomiting. While they were there, blood work showed that Ashley was 10 or 11 weeks pregnant. Regina was told the closest abortion provider was a 9-hour drive away in Chicago, but the family couldn't afford the cost of gas, food, or lodging, along with the procedure itself, and time off work to complete the journey. Instead, the family did their best to disguise the fact that Ashley was pregnant with oversized clothes until it was too obvious to hide. Then they removed her from school, saying she needed surgery for an ulcer, Time reported. Ashley completed 6th grade on her laptop and gave birth to her son, nicknamed Peanut, on a Saturday when she was 39 weeks pregnant. Her mother told Time that she's working to get Ashley permission to start 7th grade from home, too. This is the direct result of the GOP's assault on reproductive rights. They go on and on about protecting the unborn, but if the unborn becomes a child that gets raped and then ends up pregnant as a result, aw, too fucking bad, we can't give a fuck less. There is an exemption for rape and an exemption for if the mother's life is threatened by the pregnancy in Mississippi, but according to the original Time article this story comes from, there is no clear process for granting a rape exception in Mississippi. And let's also add that there are literally no abortion clinics left in Mississippi at this point. So if you're in Mississippi and you're a rape victim and then you wind up pregnant as a result of that traumatic event, you have to also go through the trauma of carrying a rape baby inside of you and giving birth to said baby. The GOP is not pro-life, they are pro-control. They want to stifle the reproductive rights of women and birthing people in general. Sorry, Anna Kasparian. Because they see these people as nothing more than baby-making machines. Their backwards-ass worldview tells them that a woman is nothing more than someone who should be subservient to a man, someone who should tend to all of his needs, and part of their duty includes getting pregnant with his baby. And this is why the GOP is so adamant about stripping away the reproductive rights of people with uteruses. They view these people as people with lower stature, so therefore they think it should be perfectly fine to limit the amount of rights these people have. But these anti-abortion laws do not just affect consensual couples who fucked up one night and didn't use protection or their protection failed them, but this also affects people who were victims of rape, including children. But a lot of conservatives, from what I've noticed, don't give a shit at all. For example, here's Seth Dillon, CEO of the Babylon Bee, a conservative satire site, whose comedy is usually something along these lines. If you can identify as trans, then I can identify as an attack helicopter. Anyway, here's what he posted onto Twitter in response to this story. She could always dress him in a should-have-been-aborted onesie, so no one ever mistakenly thinks he's wanted. And then he follows that up with, rape is tragic, but so is punishing a baby for his father's crime. You know who's also getting fucking punished? That 13-year-old girl who was horribly taken advantage of and now has to raise a child before she's even finished with middle school because she couldn't get access to an abortion. Do you have, like, no empathy at all for the child who was raped? Okay, yeah, the baby isn't wanted. No shit, the baby isn't wanted. That baby was birthed by a 13-year-old girl who, again, was raped, who herself is raised by a low-income family, and now said low-income family now has the added expense of raising a baby. So if you care so goddamn much about this unwanted baby, are you gonna fucking pitch in and help this family? Because I'm sure you make a lot of money off of your garbage-ass, unfunny website that is constantly signal boosted by people like Elon Musk. Same thing goes to all of these other conservatives like this guy. Put your fucking money where your mouths are. So many unwanted pregnancies happen to people who make shit income, who don't have proper access to contraceptives, and don't have access to abortion clinics. So if you care so fucking much about these unborn children, how about you pitch in and help these people who you are forcing to raise these unwanted babies? Because more often than not, that unborn fetus that you care oh so much about supposedly is born into a poverty-stricken family who was already barely able to scrape by, but now have the added expense of raising a child. Oh wait, you're not gonna do that because once that fetus is out of the womb, it is not your concern anymore. In the words of George Carlin, if you're pre-born, you're fine. If you're preschool, you're fucked. I take some solace in the fact that the GOP's assault on reproductive rights is biting them in the ass. It costed them midterms. It was supposed to be a red wave, but instead we saw a red trickle. And just recently we saw voters in Ohio strike down Issue 1, which would have been catastrophic for reproductive rights in the state, if passed. But even with most of the electorate not being for the GOP's attack on reproductive rights, the hyper-religious conservative right doesn't care at all, and that's exactly who the GOP is pandering to, and also makes up quite a bit of the GOP. They are not going to stop until society conforms to their way of life. But always remind them of stories like this. Let it be known to everyone that their way of life leads to children getting assaulted, then getting pregnant as a result, and then left with no way to terminate their pregnancy. And also, to close this video off, where the fuck is the Protect the Youth crowd? You know, the people who always screech on and on about how trans people are supposedly child groomers and how we gotta protect our children from gender ideology or whatever the fuck, because we can't let them know that there are gay people in this world and there are trans people in this world. But they are strangely silent when it comes to stories like this. Stories where it is clear cut that a minor was taken advantage of. So what's your fucking priority? A child being told that there are people in this world who are attracted to the same gender, and also there are people in this world who wish to transition from the gender they were assigned at birth, and either of these things are perfectly fine and valid, or a child getting raped, then getting pregnant as a result of said rape, and being left with no option to terminate the pregnancy. I already know the answer, though. You lot of people are pathetic. Fucking pathetic. That's all I have to say. Bye-bye.